In the middle of the 19th century, New York did not yet touch the clouds. It was a city born of the ocean, confined by water, yet absolutely boundless in its ambition. If you were to stand here on the edge of the Battery, looking out toward the Atlantic, you would not hear the roar of engines or the scream of sirens. Instead, the air was filled with a different kind of symphony, the cry of seagulls, the creaking of timber, and the rhythmic slapping of water against the hulls of 1,000 ships. Lower Manhattan was known to the world as the Forest of Masts. Look closely at the horizon. Wooden ships from every corner of the globe were packed so tightly it was said you could walk from deck to deck without ever touching the water. They brought tea from China, spices from the East Indies, and timber from the north. But more importantly, they brought people. Castle Garden was the gateway. Millions of new souls stepped onto these cobblestones with nothing but a suitcase and a dream. The air here was thick and heavy, smelling of salt, tar, coal smoke, and the raw energy of a new world being built. But leaving the harbor meant entering a different reality. The streets of old New York were a battleground of texture. There was no asphalt, only uneven cobblestones and, more often than not, deep, churning mud. Transportation was muscle and bone. The city moved to the rhythm of horses, thousands of them. The sound of iron horseshoes striking stone echoed off the brick walls from dawn until dusk. It was a chaotic, vibrant ballet. Heavy wagons hauling barrels of ale, swift carriages carrying bankers to Wall Street, and the constant, restless movement of a population that was doubling every decade. Behind the facades of the main avenues lay the city's secret heart, the tenements. In districts like the Five Points, space was the ultimate luxury. Brick buildings rose 4, 5 stories high, blocking out the sun. Inside these courtyards, life was lived in close quarters. You would see laundry strung like flags of surrender between windows. You would smell fresh bread baking, mixing with the damp earth. It was crowded, it was loud, but it was alive. Neighbors knew neighbors. The street was the living room of the poor, where children played among the carts and laborers rested after 12-hour shifts. Yet, just a few blocks away, a new era of elegance was dawning. This was Broadway. Here, the mud gave way to fashion. Ladies in voluminous hoop skirts glided past the first department stores, marveling at the large glass display windows, a new invention that turned shopping into a spectacle. Gentlemen in top hats and tailcoats discussed politics and trade. It was here that New York began to show its wealth. Marble started to replace brick. Iron started to replace wood. The city was dressing itself up, preparing to take its place as the capital of the world. Look up. In the 1800s, the skyline was not a canyon of steel. It was punctuated by spires. Trinity Church reigned supreme. For decades, its Gothic spire was the highest point in the city, a beacon for sailors miles out at sea. It stood as a reminder that in this rapidly industrializing world, faith still held the high ground. But the hammers were swinging. Everywhere you looked, scaffolding clung to buildings. The city was in a constant state of becoming. It was never finished. It was always growing, always reaching higher. But the true magic of the city revealed itself when the seasons changed. When winter descended, New York fell silent. A heavy blanket of snow covered the grime and the mud. The sharp clatter of wheels on stone disappeared, replaced by the soft, hushed gliding of sleighs. The air turned crisp and cold. Steam rose from the horses' flanks and from the mouths of pedestrians bundled in wool. Under the gaslights, the snow sparkled like diamonds. In these moments, the frantic energy of commerce paused, leaving behind a scene of breathtaking, frozen beauty. As the sun set, the gaslight era began. Thousands of lamps flickered to life, casting long, dancing shadows against the red brick walls. The city did not sleep even then. It merely changed its mood. Today, that world is gone. The wooden ships have rotted away, the horses are gone, the gaslights are extinguished. But if you listen closely to the wind howling through the canyons of Lower Manhattan, you can still hear the echo. The echo of the 1800s, the century that built the foundation for everything we know today.